The following podcast is by Mr. Jim Kaler, elder law and special needs attorney, helping and protecting those who need long-term care. And welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of Planning Ahead for Long-Term Care with Mr. Jim Kaler, attorney at law in the state of Ohio. And Jim, welcome back. I am so interested in this topic, and you've hit on so many key points.
We're going to talk about 3 basic strategies to plan ahead for long-term care costs. Do nothing, buy insurance, or give assets away. If you want to see this slide, and if you want to make a decision on whether to plan ahead, go back and take a look at part 1 of the podcast. I don't want to take up time to repeat that because I owe Suzanne more time. So the criteria we're going to use to compare those 3 methods are the cost to implement the strategy, the risk added to the strategy, the risk to the money. Okay, we're not talking about adding to your risk of needing care. We're not talking about health here. Okay, just risk to the money, because there's risk with money no matter what. Okay, sure. So you got to keep that in mind. The risk of long-term care in your future doesn't change the risk of having inflation. It doesn't change the risk of markets going up and down. Okay. But does the strategy add risk of some sort to the assets? How convenient is it to implement and continue to carry out the strategy? How much control does it give you over some or all of your money? And what is the likelihood of this strategy of protecting your assets from the costs of long-term care in your future? Those are our 5 criteria for comparison. So we're going to apply those criteria one by one to each strategy. The do-nothing strategy. Why does that sound like an old 100 years ago political party? Sorry, just too much history rattling around. But there was the do-nothing party, okay? Or maybe the do-nothing wing of one of the parties. Just all of a sudden just popped out of my head. The stream of unconsciousness is how I refer to what goes on in my head sometimes. Okay, so to do nothing. Obviously, there's no cost to doing nothing. There's no added risk because you've done nothing. Okay, you're still subject to inflation risk. You're still subject to market risk. You're subject to not keeping up with interest rates, or you could outstrip everything and blow away the S&P 500 and everything else. Okay, but there's no added risk by doing nothing because you're in the same situation you were before you decided, nah, I'm fine. I'm just going to stand pat. Okay. Very high convenience because you don't have to do squat. You say, nope, I'm set. I'm fine. I'm holding, 20 in a game of 21. I'm going to sit. It gives you high control of your money because you haven't tied any of it up by giving it away. You haven't put it into a trust. You haven't promised to or decided to buy another insurance policy, the premiums of which you must pay. Okay. So high control of your money. However, the likelihood of protecting assets is low. Okay. Low. It could be called a moderate likelihood of protecting assets if you look for an elder law attorney in your area, like I am in Ohio. If you seek that elder law attorney at the time you need care. Okay. Remember, the do-nothing strategy is what you decide to do now while you're still healthy. You can change the do-nothing strategy if you can change at any time. The question, if you want to give assets away, is do you make the 5-year look back or the 3-year look back? Yay. But that's a different question. We'll talk about that. But even if you go to a crisis case, and I talked about what crisis cases are as opposed to pre-planning in part 1, I'm not going to repeat it. But when you need care, that could change your mind. Generally, in my experience, and I've gotten nods of agreement from elder law attorneys in Ohio. I don't know what it's like in Texas, Massachusetts, Maine, anything. Okay. But generally, we can protect about 40% even under crisis circumstances. Okay. If you plan ahead, you're protecting 100% of what you use to plan ahead. Okay. Assuming that it all works out. Okay. You make the 5 years or the insurance pays out the way it's supposed to, et cetera. Okay. But even if you've done nothing to plan ahead and you hit a crisis, someone needs care right now, generally in Ohio anyway, and I'm guessing this is not tens of percentage points off from other parts of the country, but it's definitely going to be percentage points off. California and New York are more expensive. Maine is, at least as of several years ago, just because I happen to know an elder law attorney in Maine, My God, they were $3,000 more expensive than us at the time.
Right.
I was stunned that Maine was that expensive. So it's going to depend on the cost locally where you are. Okay. But 40% is about what I can hit. So I'm guessing an auto law attorney in Florida can hit 30 to 40 or 30 or to 40 or 45%. An auto law attorney in North Dakota can hit 35 to 40%. Same ballpark, probably. Okay.
Sure.
But that's at the time you need care. Okay. You're doing nothing now, choosing to do nothing now, or you're not paying any attention to what I say and therefore are doing nothing because you're not thinking about anything about long-term care in your future. But if you're listening, you're obviously forced to think about it. You got to hear my lilting voice. But now you're taking no steps to plan it for long-term care costs. And that's okay if that's what you want to do.
Sure.
So strategy 2, buying long-term care insurance. There are 2 insurance approaches. Okay. You can have a traditional long-term care insurance policy, kind of a standalone. It only pays for long-term care. Some people don't like that because if they don't need long-term care before they die, now mind you, about 3/4 of people over age 65 will need long-term care before they die.
Yep.
So you are aiming to be 1 in 4 if you don't need long-term care before you die. Just keep that in mind. Okay. I'm poking at your denial right now. Okay. But a traditional long-term care insurance policy, if you never need long-term care before you die, then people view that as wasting the premiums. I'm making air quotes for those who are only listening. Okay. You've wasted the premiums. Well, let's compare that a second to your homeowner's insurance. You buy your homeowner's insurance, you insure your home against fire, flood, collapse, snow, falling tree, whatever. And a year later, nothing's happened. Have you wasted those premiums or did they help you sleep at night?
Right.
Okay. Now, if you have a loan on your house, you got to do it anyway.
Right.
Okay. But let's say you buy disability insurance. Disability insurance is not required by anybody.
No.
Does it help you sleep at night?
Absolutely.
That's the point of planning ahead. If you get long-term care insurance, the point of the insurance is to help you sleep at night now.
So I have a question for you.
Of course.
You were talking about the fact of long-term care insurance tied to an asset investment, because I'm looking ahead on your screen.
Yes.
What about those people that have traditional life insurance that have been paying on it for years? Then what happens?
Okay. If you have traditional life insurance, remember there's two big categories of life insurance. Okay. There's term insurance that will not take your money anymore after you reach a certain age because you're giving a real risk at dying. Okay. But while you're in your big earning years, where your children depend on you to pay for college, your mortgage still needs to be paid, etc. Okay.
Right.
Then term insurance at a relatively low cost can get you a lot of insurance in case of calamity. Okay. The other route you can go is some sort of cash value policy, a whole life, a universal life index, all sorts of things. Some of them are tied to interest rates. Some of them are tied to the stock market. I'm a whole life fan because if you're going to play the stock market, play the stock market. Okay. Whole life, in my view, life in any long-term insurance, long-term care insurance, life insurance, anything you're planning way off in the future, you want it to be boring. Because you want it to be there in 40 years. You're not taking a flyer on this. Okay. If your auto insurance goes away 6 months after you bought the policy because the insurance company collapsed or decided to pull out of your state, or so let's say you're in Florida, your homeowner's insurance has had enough trouble with hurricanes. We're out of here. Okay. You can find different homeowners insurance. You can find different auto insurance, because they rate you on your age and your driving record every year. Okay. So it was going to go up anyway. You can't buy.
So you're not necessarily locked in. So you might as well just,
Right. But with life insurance, with cash value life insurance or traditional long-term care insurance, you're locked in for decades, you hope.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to get it while you are underwritable. You're relatively healthy. You're not showing anything that's going to create a long-term care risk to the insurance company. If you're looking at long-term care insurance, they don't look at you and say, oh my God, this person's going to die in 5 years. We're not going to do their life insurance. Okay. you're looking to lock something in if you're going with some sort of cash value life insurance or a traditional long-term care policy. Okay. So and we're seeing this more and more now, you can buy a life insurance policy, cash value life insurance policy. I've never seen with a term policy, one of those that if you don't die this year, fine, you pay next year's premiums. If you don't die next year, you pay the premiums after that. Okay. It doesn't build up a cash value. Okay. And by the way, almost all group insurance, something you get from your employer, is going to be the term type. You get a group rating. I've never seen a group cash value insurance. Okay. I have seen group long-term care insurance that people are able to keep.
Sure.
Those are great. You get great rates and good coverage. Okay. And that's not on here just because it's got to be offered through your employer or some other group. You know, hey, if you're a member of the medical association in your state or the bar association or something, see if you can get them to make some deal with some insurance company and get long-term care insurance added to the list. Okay. By the way, you want a preferred rate. I get through the bar. I get a lot of solicitations to the bar association, but there's no price breaks on it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a mailing list. Okay. So
True.
Be careful.
I've gotten a few of those in my life.
Oh yeah, sure. We all get them. Okay. Oh, you're a member of AAA. Let's offer you our long-term care insurance. It's okay. What price break do I get? Oh, none. No. Okay. If you're going to get a group rating, get a price break on it. Otherwise, go look for the insurance on your own.
Sure.
Okay. So because those that are selling with mailing lists aren't offering you the high quality insurance most of the time.
No.
Okay. So you can now get a life insurance policy with a long-term care rider. Or you can flip it on its head and get a long-term care insurance policy with a return of premium rider, which means, excuse me, which means if you die without needing it, then the premium goes back. Now, mind you, no interest on the premium, but you haven't wasted your money. It hasn't grown, but you haven't wasted your money. Your family now gets that as a payout upon death. Okay.
Jim,
or if you have a lot of money you want to drop right now.
Yeah.
You can also buy, there are some places where you can buy an annuity, you know, one of those, you pay for it now and it pays you income over time. Okay. You can drop a lot of money, and we're talking like, you know, minimum of $50,000 all at once, single premium up front. And you can buy an annuity and it has a long-term care rider on it. So if you if you need long-term care, then it's going to eat your investment first. So be aware of that. Okay. It's going to eat your money first, but most of these have a multiplier. You put down $50,000 to buy this annuity and you never need long-term care, then you're going to get the 50 grand plus whatever interest it grew. Okay. Or whatever other investment method it uses to grow. Okay. Some annuities are tied to the stock market. Some are tied to interest. Again, annuity should be boring. So I think it should be tied to interest rates. Okay. Again, you want to play the stock market, play the stock market.
Fabulous.
Okay. That's just Jim on investing, and my investment portfolio is so wonderful. I wouldn't take any of my advice. There we go. So, but if you're worried about it, you want to do it now, but you've got, you like annuities, or you've got a big pot of money, you want to just deal with it all at once and be done. You can get an annuity, and generally you get 1.5 times so if you put 50,000 down, you might get 75,000 of long-term care insurance. But I've seen as high as 2.5 times. You put 50 down and you got 250,000 of long-term care insurance, should you need that. Okay. So that's another possibility.
Yes. And I think one of the things that we're, talking about long-term care insurance, we're going to go even more into this discussion here in our next segment. And remember, to everyone, go to YouTube, go to Answers for Elders. You'll be finding this PowerPoint as we're talking about it. If you're interested in more information, and Jim is available to speak with you. He's also on our website. And in the meantime, Jim, what is your website, just so people can go to you?
My website is protectingseniors.com. Protect with an ING, senior with an S on the end, like more than one senior.com. That's short for protecting seniors and people with special needs.
And Jim, you are in the state of Ohio, but also there's elder law attorneys all throughout the USA. And, we encourage every single family to visit one, to learn a little bit more about them. And Jim will be right back with protecting your long-term care benefits coming up in the next segment. State of Ohio residents, you have a friend to help you navigate long-term care while protecting your assets. You can reach Jim at www.protectingseniors.com or just email him at jkowler-afe, that's jkaler, AFE at protectingseniors.com.